On a packed flight from Atlanta to Chicago, a father's demand for a black woman to give up her seat for his daughter sparked a confrontation that no one saw coming, until the flight attendant's bold response left him speechless and changed the course of the journey. Nia Thompson, a 32-year-old marketing consultant, had boarded Delta Flight 1423 on a crisp October morning in 2023, her carry-on stowed and her earbuds ready for a quiet trip. She had booked a window seat in economy, 24A, a small luxury she always chose for the view and a bit of solitude. Nia, a black woman who traveled frequently for work, was used to the routine of air travel, the long lines, the hurried boarding, the occasional stares. She settled into her seat, her laptop open to review a client presentation, unaware that the next few minutes would thrust her into the center of a viral moment. The trouble began as the plane filled up. A family of three, a father, mother, and their teenage daughter, boarded late, their faces flushed from rushing through the airport. The father, Robert Kessler, a man in his mid-50s with a commanding presence, was visibly frustrated as he scanned the overhead bins for space. His daughter, Emily, about 16, trailed behind, her eyes glued to her phone. The family's seats were scattered. Robert and his wife, Karen, were in 24B and 24C, the middle and aisle seats next to Nia, while Emily was assigned 27D, 3 rows back. Robert approached Nia as soon as he reached row 24. "Excuse me," he said, his tone sharp. "You need to move so my daughter can sit with us." Nia looked up, surprised, and explained that she had booked her seat months in advance. "I'm sorry, but this is my seat," she said calmly. "Maybe you can ask the flight attendant for help." Robert's face reddened. "This is ridiculous," he said, loud enough for nearby passengers to turn. "My daughter needs to sit with her family. You're in our way." Nia, maintaining her composure, repeated that she wasn't moving unless directed by the crew. Karen, standing in the aisle, tried to intervene, suggesting they wait for a flight attendant, but Robert wasn't having it. "No, this needs to be sorted now," he insisted. "She can take Emily's seat. It's not a big deal." Nia felt the eyes of other passengers on her, some curious, others uncomfortable. She took a deep breath, unwilling to escalate but firm in her stance. "I paid for this seat," she said. "I'm not moving unless the airline tells me to." The situation drew the attention of a flight attendant, Carla Ruiz, a veteran with 15 years at Delta. Carla, a Latina woman in her 40s, approached with a professional smile, asking what the problem was. Robert explained, his voice rising, that he needed Nia to switch seats so his daughter could sit with them. "It's a family thing," he said. "She shouldn't be alone back there." Carla nodded, checking her tablet for the seating chart. She turned to Nia, who reiterated that she had chosen 24A specifically and wasn't willing to move unless it was an equivalent seat. Carla then addressed Robert. "Sir, I understand you want her family together, but this passenger has the right to her assigned seat. Let me see if we can find a solution." Robert's frustration boiled over. "This is absurd," he said, gesturing toward Nia. "Why is she making this difficult? Just move her to the other seat." The word "her" carried a bite, and Nia felt the weight of it. She had faced moments like this before, moments where her presence seemed to inconvenience someone, where her rights were questioned because of who she was. But before she could respond, Carla's demeanor shifted. She straightened, her voice firm but measured. "Sir, I need you to lower your voice and stop directing your frustration at this passenger. She's done nothing wrong. If you continue, you won't be allowed to fly today." The cabin went quiet, passengers craning to hear. Robert blinked, clearly unprepared for the response. "Are you serious?" he asked. "I'm just trying to keep my family together." Carla didn't waver. "I'm very serious," she said. "This passenger booked her seat, just like you booked yours. If you want to sit together, we can try to find volunteers to switch, but you don't get to demand someone else's seat. And you certainly don't get to raise your voice at her or me." She paused, letting the words sink in. "Now, do you want me to ask for volunteers, or do you want to discuss this further with airport security?" Robert's jaw tightened, but he said nothing. Karen, embarrassed, tugged at his arm, urging him to sit down. Emily, who had been silent, looked mortified, her phone now forgotten in her lap. Carla turned to the cabin, addressing the passengers in rows 24 through 27. "Ladies and gentlemen," she said, "we have a family looking to sit together. If anyone is willing to switch seats to accommodate them, please let me know. We'd need someone in row 24 to take a seat in 27D. A man in 26C, a middle-aged business traveler, raised his hand. "I'll move," he said. "It's no trouble." The passengers applauded lightly, and Carla facilitated the switch, ensuring Emily could sit in 26C while the volunteer took her original seat. Robert and Karen settled into their seats, avoiding Mia's gaze. Mia, relieved, thanked Carla quietly.
"You didn't have to do that," she said.
Carla smiled. "Yes, I did," she replied. "It's my job to make sure everyone's treated fairly." The flight took off without further incident, but the story didn't end there. A passenger in row 25, who had recorded the exchange on their phone, posted the video online later that day. The clip, showing Robert's demands and Carla's response, spread rapidly across social media. By the time the plane landed in Chicago, it had thousands of views. Comments poured in, praising Carla's professionalism and Nia's composure while criticizing Robert's behavior. The hashtag DeltaFlight1423 trended, with users sharing their own stories of unfair treatment on flights. A local news outlet in Atlanta picked up the story, interviewing Nia after she agreed to share her perspective. "I just wanted to sit in the seat I paid for," she told the reporter. "I didn't expect it to turn into all this." Delta issued a statement the next day, commending Carla for her handling of the situation and reaffirming their commitment to passenger rights. The airline also reached out to Nia, offering her a voucher for a future flight as a gesture of goodwill. Robert, meanwhile, faced public backlash. A follow-up post revealed he was a partner at a local law firm, prompting calls for a boycott. His firm issued an apology, stating that his actions didn't reflect their values, but the damage to his reputation was done. Karen and Emily remained out of the spotlight, though sources close to the family said they were humiliated by the ordeal. Nia became an unintentional advocate, invited to speak at a community forum on workplace and public discrimination. She used the platform to highlight the importance of standing up for one's rights, even in small moments. Carla, hailed as a hero online, received a commendation from Delta and a flood of supportive messages from passengers she had served over the years. The incident sparked a broader conversation about airline policies and passenger interactions, with advocacy groups pushing for clearer guidelines on seat disputes. The flight from Atlanta to Chicago, a routine 90-minute journey, became a flashpoint for change. Nia continued her work, her resolve strengthened by the experience. Carla went back to her routes, her calm authority a quiet force in the skies. And Robert, chastened by the public response, faded from the headlines, a reminder that a single moment of entitlement could ripple far beyond the confines of an airplane cabin.